Sagging is a manner in which a person situates their pants below the belt line. The pants are commonly fixed across or below the buttocks, exposing the underwear. It is also known as a fashion statement or trend. The fashion is usually favored by young males, but not limited to a specific age, race, color, gender, or ethnicity. Sagging's origin is traced to the prison system. From this system, it took off into urban neighborhoods and into mainstream media such as hip-hop. According to Snopes, a myth-busting and fact-checking site, was the fashion of sagging one's pants born of a prison mode of signaling sexual availability? From 2005 states this idea is false. Prisons provide inmates with oversized, ill-fitting clothes with no belts. Belts are prohibited from prisons to prevent inmates from using the belts to assist with suicide and the possible use of weapons. Snopes also discredits another theory that sagging or baggy pants are used to conceal weapons. These theories reinforce negative stereotypes. An infamous video took the internet by storm in the early 2000s of former inmate Fleece Johnson. In the video, Johnson described sagging as a, quote, gangster style worn by young inmates. You know they got this thing where they sag their pants past their butt. It's a style. They call it some sort of gangster style. You know, it's sexy to us, right? See, they wasn't prepared for this, right? So you sag your pants in here, man, somebody be up in your butt.
Booty, a man's butt.
Sagging was commonly embraced by pop culture and music. In the early 90s, it was deeply woven into the fabrics of streetwear and music videos. Sagging has taken on many transformations throughout the years. Questionably, belted sagging is also a practice along with wearing skinny jeans to show off designer underwear. In 2010, former Senator of New York Eric Adams began a campaign to crack down on sagging throughout Brooklyn to stop the sag. Adams expressed that sagging is harmful, which means dangerous, bad, or damaging. Adams stated that the opposition to sagging is a social principle. Raise your pants, you'll also raise your image. But he did not directly impose a law to address sagging, but stated that sagging can be criminalized through public lewdness or indecent exposure. Southern states like Florida have taken different approaches. In 2007, a law passed and prohibited people from sagging their pants in public spaces and imposed fines. Criminalizing sagging has come under much scrutiny. It received criticism for targeting disenfranchised African Americans, plagued by poverty and lack of education. The NAACP threatened to take legal action to shoot down the law from being imposed. The law was in effect for the next 13 years. Sagging is not always linked to poverty. As stated previously, sagging is a fashion or expressive form. It can be considered a lifestyle, and it is influenced by culture and media. Many argue that sagging is superficial, and such condemning acts are an infringement on the First Amendment's freedom of expression. But why expose the most delicate and innocent body part? The problem with sagging is a lack of positive self-image. Simply put, many individuals prefer not to see someone's underwear or buttocks in a public setting. It raises questions and concerns of the behavior of the sagger. The downfall of sagging can be attributed to the trend of tight-fitting pants, but this too can be corrupted by sagging. For many years since its popularity, sagging has always been a debatable subject and one of much controversy. This decline can be credited to progressive/experimental fashion designs, tight-fitting clothes, and fast fashion. Sagging is becoming less popular, and many others are privy to its questionable history. The solution to sagging is not laws or legislation. It requires no physical punishment. Although sagging has become less popular, it will never be fully eradicated. Condemning sagging must be done by shame and embarrassment through peers. Peer influence is the strongest factor in behavior. Individuals typically spend the most time around their peers instead of family or authoritative figures. Young people are impressionable and more susceptible to peer pressure. A study conducted in 2007, Age Differences in Resistance to Peer Influence, by Lawrence Steenberg and Catherine C. Monahan stated, data from 4 ethnically and socioeconomically diverse samples comprising more than 3,600 males and females between the ages of 10 and 30. Results show that across all demographic groups, resistance to peer influences increases linearly between ages 14 and 18. In contrast, there is little evidence for growth in this capacity between ages 10 and 14, or between 18 and 30. Middle adolescence is especially significant period for the development of the capacity to stand up for what one believes and resist the pressures of one's peers to do otherwise. Influence through peers impacts the vast majority of one's developmental years. As people age, their resistance to peer pressure decreases, but there is not much progress between teenage to young adult years. Sagging can indicate to others to make assumptions or attach negative stereotypes based on race or age. One's buttocks are on display for the world to see. Commonly covered by underwear, it is deemed as unflattering and unhygienic to those who do not participate. Although people from multiple demographics engage in sagging, the trend is prevalent in the African American community. Blacks are criticized and innumerably subject to disciplinary actions. One could argue that the exposure of underwear is a gender-neutral fashion trend, such as women wearing clothes that reveal their bra or thong. Nevertheless, sagging has historical and systematic ramifications. An obscure observation on sagging can be linked to slavery. Slaveholders would often practice notorious acts of humiliation and punishment to deter disobedience among the enslaved. Buck breaking was a barbaric act of raping and flogging the enslaved. This act took place in front of crowds of other enslaved individuals to establish fear, control, emasculation, and dominance. The victims would be ostracized and subject to further abuse. It is rumored that the victims would be forced to indicate that they were buck broken by sagging their trousers to reveal their bottom, making them vulnerable and susceptible to assault. Black Buck via fighting a movie with lightning, the birth of a nation in the Black community. Quote, in the post-Reconstruction United States, Black Buck was a racial slur used to describe a certain type of African American men. In particular, the caricature was used to describe Black men who absolutely refused to bend to the law of white authority and were irredeemably violent, rude, and lecherous. End quote. Those opposed to sagging often associate the act with violence, homosexuality, prison, and the desire to engage in sexual acts or hypersexuality. This can create and contribute to unfavorable narratives about the gay community and those who sag. Sagging is often a symbol of masculinity, manhood, and being, quote, gangster. It is ironic because some opponents of sagging contradict the act as gay, but supporters view it as manly. Sagging can garner attention from those who are attracted to the same sex. The fall has yet to meet its demise. Those against sagging suggest it as weakness, vulnerability, and ignorance. The historical and modern context of sagging contribute to the stigma and implications associated with informal behavior. Is sagging a real problem? Comment below, share your thoughts and opinions. Thank you for watching.